What do you make of a man who refused to bow before the mighty Mughal Emperor Akbar when all other Rajput rulers did? When his own brothers sided with Akbar, leaving him virtually alone? Of a man who preferred to face hardships in the jungles of Aravalli than live a life of comfort by surrendering to Akbar? It is not without reason that Maharana Pratap is regarded as one of the greatest heroes of India, whose Jayanti we are celebrating today. Pratap was what he was because of the rich legacy of Mewar, a legacy that boasted of Rana Kumbha, a ruler whose vision of building a protective network of forts saw him come up with the Great Wall of India, of Rana Sangha under whose rule Mewar expanded all over the north, a legacy of a nursemaid called Panna Dai who sacrificed her own son for the future of Mewar. Maharana Pratap grew up listening to tales of how his father had to abandon Chittorgarh after Akbar had laid siege to it, and horrific tales of Akbar massacring the inhabitants of Chittor, placing their skulls in a heap. There is no way he would have surrendered to Akbar after listening to the horrors brought on the inhabitants of Chittorgarh. While other Rajput rulers accepted Akbar's sovereignty, even forced alliances with him, Rana Pratap stood out defiantly. For him to surrender to Akbar would have meant insulting the sacrifice of Jaimal and Patta. It would have meant an insult to the souls of the thousands massacred after Akbar conquered Chittorgarh. And thus Chittorgarh became the ambition of his life. As long as Chittorgarh would not be recaptured, he would never rest, and it was in keeping with this vow that he imposed an austerity regime of sorts till Chittorgarh was recaptured. Food was to be eaten only in leaf plates, no gold or silver vessels. Birds were not to be trimmed, and they would sleep only on straw mats till Chittorgarh was regained. Akbar tried to win over Rana Pratap by sending missions to him under Bhagwan Das Todarmal and finally with Raja Man Singh. It proved to be of no use. In fact, Raja Man Singh was insulted by Pratap when he went to meet him. And finally, the battle lines were drawn, and the venue was Haldighati, a narrow mountain pass in the Aravallis, located around 40 kilometers from Udaipur, connecting the districts of Rajsamand and Pali. So called because of the turmeric colored soil here. Though most Rajput rulers were on the side of the Mughals, Pratap still had a formidable force with some of the Rajputs surrounding him. Ram Singh Tanwar of Gwalior, Hakim Khan Suri, and the Bhil tribals were the ones who were supporting Pratap out here. On the other hand, the Mughal army was huge with the strength of 80,000 led by Raja Man Singh, Prince Salim, Bahlol Khan and Multan Khan. And finally, on June 18th, the Battle of Haldighati was fought when the two forces clashed in one of the most epic battles. Pratap also charged at Prince Salim on the elephant and almost had him at his mercy before the javelin just missed the mark, killing the mahout. Reached a feverish pitch with neither side willing to yield, and the soil of Haldighati was soaked with red blood. Pratap himself was rescued twice, but the Mughals were now gaining an upper hand thanks to their artillery power. Jala, understanding the gravity of the situation, urged Pratap to retreat from the battlefield, and himself wore Pratap's insignia, his helmet, and charged into the Mughal ranks. Jala fought like a cornered tiger to the end before breathing his last, and Man Singh was shocked to see that the man killed was not Pratap but his own chieftain Jala. Chetak loyally bore his master Pratap over the hills and valleys away from the battlefield before succumbing to its injuries. Pratap, with no kingdom of his to call his own, moved with his family from hill to hill, valley to valley, living on the verge of starvation in the jungles. It was then the kindly Bhil tribals gave his family shelter and refuge away from the Mughals. However, he had no resources still to fight the Mughals, and that is when one minister Bhama Shah came to his rescue. One of the wealthiest men of Mewar, who had accumulated generations of wealth by service to the family, he put all his wealth at Pratap's disposal, saying it was more than needed for Mewar's liberation. He again managed to raise an army and resources with the help of Bhama Shah, and began to recapture his forts one by one, Kumbhalgarh, Gogunda, Udaipur, Ranthambore, and also built a new capital of Shavand near Dungarpur. He successfully used the guerrilla tactics against the Mughals and recaptured most of Mewar back, and his dream of capturing Chittorgarh still remained elusive. He died at his capital of Chavan in 1597, still nursing dreams of his beloved Chittorgarh. Till his death, Rana Pratap slept on the floor, ate only in copper utensils and very simple food. When most of the Rajput rulers had surrendered to Mughals and were enjoying a life of luxury, this was one man who refused to do so till the end. Naman. On this date, as we pay tribute to Maharana Pratap on his Jayanti, do like and share this video and subscribe to our channel for more such videos on Mewar as well as on Rajput history. And share your comments in the comment box below. Namaste, this is me Ratnakar signing off for another episode of History Under Your Feet.